Welcome to the Chapter Hearth. We wish you moments of joy and relaxation listening to our stories. My best friend and I both married into prominent families. We both married into the Thorne family. She married the youngest brother, Liam Thorne, an online sensation with a baby face and a seemingly endless line of female fans. I, on the other hand, sealed the deal with the oldest brother, Ethan Thorne, a silver screen heartthrob and a top-tier movie star. So handsome he made you swoon just by looking at him. Yet, less than half a year later, my best friend announced her divorce. I've had enough. That night, my husband, Ethan Thorne, was invited for a TV interview. The MC, with their typical professional curiosity, asked a probing question.
Rumor has it that a few days ago, actor Thorne's younger brother was photographed by paparazzi embracing actress Serafina Hayes overnight, and now there are rumors of divorce. What do you think about this, Mr. Thorne?
Ethan Thorne glanced directly into the camera, his face unfazed, as if nothing had happened, then dropped a bombshell.
Oh, then I suppose it'll be my turn next.
The online community exploded. What was happening with these brothers? Were they having a divorce competition? But Ethan Thorne wasn't wrong at all. Right at that moment, my best friend, Chloe Davis, was huddled on my sofa, her eyes red and tear-streaked. And that kid, Liam Thorne, was kneeling on the floor outside my door, begging for an explanation. But tough luck. My soundproofed European imported door was top tier, so apart from a muffled knocking, Chloe and I couldn't hear any of his wailing outside. Chloe's eyes were glued to a video showing Liam secretly holding hands with some actress as they entered a hotel. Seeing her grit her teeth, I knew her anger was through the roof. Divorce? I have to divorce him? Oh, I felt so terrible for her. That darn Liam. I always thought he truly loved Chloe. He had pursued her for a whole year, knelt and begged her to marry him, and treated her like a princess. Who would have thought he was just another charming playboy, sweet talker but insincere? Chloe looked at me, her eyes shimmering with tears.
Do you want a divorce?
She knew perfectly well that Ethan and I had been married for half a year, and our relationship was lukewarm at best. Ethan was constantly away filming, only showing his face at home once. He didn't even touch me on our wedding night. Everyone said Ethan was still hung up on his deceased first love. No one knew who that girl was, but everyone gossiped that given Ethan's personality, if his first love hadn't passed, I wouldn't have stood a chance to be his wife. Back then, I used my status as an Aurora Sterling heiress, proudly demanding to marry Ethan. Besides being infatuated with his chiseled face, there was another reason. Chloe, my best friend, had married his younger brother. Chloe said that marrying into the same family meant we'd have an ally if we faced a difficult mother-in-law. So, with Chloe's enthusiastic matchmaking, Ethan finally agreed to marry me. Who would have known that after we got married, he didn't lay a finger on me? At first, I even thought he had some private medical issue, so I secretly tried to take him to a doctor for a discreet checkup. To my surprise, Ethan flew into a rage, his face pale.
You dragged me to a doctor without saying a word?
Thinking back, he must have been committed to celibacy for his first love. Tuck, truly a paragon of male virtue. With a model-perfect physique, broad shoulders, slim waist, sculpted glutes, yet he wouldn't let anyone touch him. Who was he trying to tempt? Why agree to marry me if he wanted to remain celibate? I gritted my teeth, looking at Chloe. If you're divorcing, I'm divorcing too. Chloe wiped her tears, nodding vigorously.
Okay, I'm divorcing today, and it'll be your turn tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll both go viral.
I nodded repeatedly. After finalizing our plan, Chloe opened the door to find Liam still kneeling outside, looking miserable. This guy, a year younger than Chloe, had that adorable puppy dog charm with teary eyes that could melt anyone's heart.
Wife, I can explain, really.
Chloe sneered, a smile that sent shivers down my spine.
It's too late, honey. I've cried all my tears dry. A man is only allowed to make me cry once. Forgive you? You slept with someone else all night in a hotel, with used condoms scattered on the floor. How the heck do you explain that? Who cares about your explanation? Divorce me!
With that, Chloe puffed out her chest, striding downstairs in her 4-inch heels, looking like a conquering queen. I had known her for over a decade, but this was the first time I'd seen her this fierce. Liam's face went white as a ghost. I secretly gave Chloe a thumbs up, then pulled out my phone, took a picture of her, filtered it to perfection, and sent it over. Chloe texted back immediately.
So, don't you think I'm cool? That punk must be scared stiff, right?
You guessed it.
You guessed it!
I was about to reply when I spotted that darn girl standing in the corner of the staircase on the first floor, a smug look on her face, as if she'd conquered the world. Gone was that heartbroken, crying over love act from earlier. No wonder she's my sister. She's so fierce, absolutely amazing, top-tier badass. That night, Chloe began packing her bags, getting ready to leave. I quickly grabbed her hand. Are you leaving right now? Wait for me. Let's sleep together tonight. Ethan won't be back anyway.
Nodded vigorously.
She knew Ethan and I had never consummated our marriage. Normally, whenever the two Thorne brothers were away, Chloe and I would carry designer bags, wear sparkling eels, and strut into fancy restaurants like two queens. We'd sit there, sipping afternoon tea, nibbling on pastries, and go on a rant about those two brothers. Honestly, not a single kind word. Just, this guy is so insincere. That guy is such a jerk. But I had to admit, Chloe's life was still a step ahead of mine. At home, she just needed a few playful words with Liam, and that kid would melt. After some sweet talk, Chloe would casually ask about this month's advertising budget, and like a fish caught on a hook, Liam would willingly hand his wife his credit card. I, meanwhile, could only stand by, my eyes gleaming as I watched their affectionate display, green with envy. Ethan would frown when he saw me looking. Then, after a while, perhaps out of embarrassment, he'd silently follow his brother's example and hand me his card. I beamed at him, looking him straight in the eye. To my surprise, Ethan's deep eyes suddenly darkened, and his earlobes turned bright red, as if they'd been grilled. His beautiful Adam's apple bobbed slightly, making him incredibly attractive. Goodness, truly an acclaimed actor untouched by female charms. Seeing his aloof demeanor, I just wanted to drag this god off his pedestal and deal with him once and for all. I thought he had finally softened, so that night I went all out, pulling out a sailor cosplay outfit. Chloe had dared me to buy it when we were out shopping. At first, I was embarrassed, but remembering how Chloe's nose bled profusely when she saw me try it on, and how she even tried to grope me, I finally dared to wear it. If even a woman went crazy for it, how could Ethan escape my clutches? To my surprise, when I slipped under the covers and hugged Ethan's waist, his Adam's apple bobbed again. But then he quickly got up, grabbed his pillow, and ran straight into his study. Before leaving, he carefully wrapped the blanket tightly around me, as if trying to package me like a burrito. It was a scorching summer, with the AC blasting. Wasn't he afraid I'd suffocate? Chloe pulled me upstairs. She had already asked Mrs. Dawson to pack all her belongings, preparing to leave first thing in the morning. Don't be fooled by Chloe's wealth. She was determined not to leave anything for Liam. The reason was simple, so that punk wouldn't dream of profiting from his ex-wife's stuff. No way. Chloe and I carefully planned. Once she left, Liam's bedroom would be empty, clean as if it had been robbed. But there were too many belongings. One card definitely wouldn't be enough.
Even if we can't fit it all, we have to take it. Leave it for some other woman to enjoy? Dream on!
I nodded repeatedly. Absolutely right. Save when you can, spend when you need to. Although I wasn't short on money, the thought of my belongings being used by another woman or contemptuously discarded made me uncomfortable all over. I immediately instructed Mrs. Dawson. "Mrs. Dawson, while you're at it, please pack my things too." Mrs. Dawson was the Thorne family's longtime staff. She had just overheard Chloe and Liam's argument. That afternoon, when Chloe and I were sitting on the sofa watching TV, casually criticizing the two Thorne brothers, we were suddenly shocked by the news of Liam secretly entering a hotel with an actress. Mrs. Dawson had been there, so she knew exactly why Chloe wanted a divorce. But now that it was my turn to pack my belongings, I didn't bother to hide it. Sooner or later, the whole family would know I intended to leave with Chloe. I sneered. "I want a divorce too." Mrs. Dawson was so startled she dropped her handkerchiefs, her face turning pale. She knew how Chloe and I were. Ethan and Liam were constantly busy, so after we got married, we two sisters-in-law became inseparable. Every day, we'd get together to badmouth our two husbands. Chloe lived on the second floor and I on the third. We spent almost every day together, from complaining about the useless Thorne brothers to criticizing their questionable fashion choices. That's why Liam often complained that we ostracized them like two lost puppies. Mrs. Dawson sighed, looking at Liam, who was standing blankly by the dining table, unsure what to say. But since she had raised Liam since he was a child, she decided to approach him and advise.
"Young Master Liam, why don't you let young Mistress Chloe go home to her parents to cool off? Lingering around her like this will only make her angrier."
Liam looked at Mrs. Dawson with eyes like a lost puppy. After a moment, he finally nodded, agreeing to let Mrs. Dawson pack for both of us. As Chloe and I went upstairs, I saw Liam secretly pull out his phone to call Ethan. As soon as Ethan picked up, the kid started sobbing.
"Brother, come home right away. The house is falling apart. Yes, my wife wants a divorce. It has nothing to do with you, but you're about to get dumped too."
Mrs. Dawson also sighed, secretly calling the main estate.
"Both daughters-in-law are about to leave. If Mr. and Mrs. Thorne Sr. knew about this, it would be the end of the world."
That night, I sent Ethan Thorne a text before cuddling up with Chloe to sleep. "Come home tomorrow morning." "Okay." Looking at our chat history, his replies were always abrupt and cold as ice. My heart grew colder with each message. That night, by some strange impulse, I secretly snuck into Ethan's study. To be honest, I had never set foot in that secret lair. He kept me out, as if there was some treasure in there I wasn't allowed to see. The more he forbade it, the more curious I became. I had to see it. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. It was pitch dark, and I could only see walls covered with photos. But it was too dark. I couldn't see anything clearly. Rumors about Ethan still pining for his first love had started years ago when someone secretly saw photos displayed in his study. Besides the pile of photos, there was a first aid kit haphazardly placed on the table. I was about to creep closer to look when Chloe called out from the door.
"Hey, what are you doing in there? Come out!"
So I dejectedly walked out. The next morning, as Chloe and I carried our suitcases downstairs, we found the two Thorne brothers sitting stiffly on the sofa, as if awaiting judgment. Ethan Thorne frowned, looking at us, while Liam's eyes were red-rimmed, on the verge of tears.
"Wife, I can explain.
He stammered for ages, unable to string a coherent sentence together. What was there to explain? The undeniable truth was that morning, there was a woman next to Liam in the hotel room. How could he explain that? Ethan Thorne still maintained his stone-cold face, but when Chloe and I pulled out the divorce papers, he looked visibly tense, as if someone was strangling him.
The investigation isn't clear yet. Aren't you two being too emotional?
I glanced at the godlike figure with broad shoulders and a slim waist, in a white shirt and black trousers, looking like he'd stepped out of a fashion magazine, then sneered. Emotional about what? It has nothing to do with them. Even if they weren't divorcing, I would have wanted out ages ago. Ethan Thorne's long, slender fingers trembled slightly, and his voice deepened.
Why?
I gave a cold laugh. No love, no marriage. Simple enough. Everyone knew I was head over heels for Ethan. When we first got married, I fervently collected his photos, plastered his movie schedule everywhere, and even booked out an entire theater to invite friends to watch his starring films. Ethan Thorne's eyes flickered, his lips pressed tightly together.
Does it really have to come to this?
I nodded emphatically. I'm a Sterling Harris. Marrying Ethan was a suitable match in terms of family background, but I'm an only child, used to being pampered since I was little. Chasing after him for half a year was more than enough. On the other side, Liam was still stammering, out of breath. I knew Chloe wasn't easily swayed. She looked gentle, but was as strong as a superhero inside. Forgive Liam after that incident? No way. As the two Thorne brothers rushed to the mansion, my family's driver had already loaded all the belongings into the car. The atmosphere was tense as a violin string when a sleek black Maybach screeched to a halt at the gate. Liam's mother, who was also Chloe's and my mother-in-law, and Ethan's stepmother, rushed in, flustered. She was always immaculately made up, with the refined gestures of a wealthy socialite, but now she was wearing only a thin silk nightgown, her voice trembling.
Are you two really both demanding a divorce?
Seeing her panicked face, who could stay calm after hearing both their daughters-in-law wanted to pack up and leave first thing in the morning? But she was only Ethan's stepmother. Liam was her biological son, so she felt awkward interfering in my affairs with Ethan. She knew perfectly well why Chloe wanted a divorce. Liam's scandal with that actress had rocked the entire city. Who hadn't heard? A single man and woman in a hotel room isn't unusual. Not to mention the housekeeping staff even testified there were used condoms in the room. With such clear evidence, how could he deny it? Chloe's family background wasn't bad, but it was still a step below the Thornes. Back then, the Thorne family didn't approve of the marriage, but Mrs. Thorne Sr. felt sorry for her son. Seeing Liam refusing to eat or sleep, crying over love, she finally relented. She didn't particularly like me either. Knowing Chloe's fiery temper, I wasn't exactly a gentle soul myself. I was known for my pride, but as a Sterling heiress, I was a suitable match for Ethan, so she couldn't say much. Mrs. Thorne Sr. turned to advise Chloe.
Child, this will greatly affect Liam. His job requires socializing, and who can control things when alcohol is involved? Besides, who in this industry is truly clean? Just bear with it a little, and things will be fine.
Divorce would ruin Liam's career, so she desperately tried to persuade her daughter-in-law. To her surprise, Chloe sneered. Liam quickly looked up, cutting his mother off.
What? Mom, don't say another word. You're gonna ruin me.
I stood by, adding fuel to the fire. Mrs. Thorne Sr., if you're so gentle, why did you fire Dad's secretary last month? And bear with it, where? My best friend is both beautiful and rich. Why would she need these timid Thorne guys? Chloe laughed loudly, pulling my hand.
Affect his career? It's a miracle I haven't made him pay for damages. 2 years of my youth were truly wasted.
We played off each other, leaving Mrs. Thorne Sr. speechless, her face as red as a ripe tomato. Luckily, Mrs. Dawson, who was nearby enjoying the drama, quickly rushed over to press an acupuncture point on the mother-in-law's face to revive her. The wealthy matriarch lay struggling on the floor, slowly opening her eyes a few seconds later, gasping for breath.
You two, fine then. You want a divorce, then get one.
Chloe and I shrugged, declaring in unison.
Why do we need your permission? We're adults. If we want a divorce, we'll get one. What does it have to do with parents that we need to make such a fuss?
My sister and I were more than capable of fighting one person. Why should we be scared? As I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of Ethan Thorne's eyes flashing with delight. Damn, he's that happy? So thrilled to be free, huh? The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I dragged Chloe straight to the car, so forcefully that she almost stumbled.
Slow down. I know you're in a hurry, but don't drag me like a cart.
After leaving the Thorne mansion, I briefly explained the reason for the divorce to my mother. She lamented.
It's because Ethan always brought back tons of gifts for me when he traveled abroad, making me think you two were so happy. Who would have thought the divorce would happen so fast?
My mother always doted on me and didn't force anything. She told me to rest at home for a while. Chloe, feeling down, wanted to move in with me. My mother, who had known her for a long time, tentatively asked,
Chloe, dear, I heard you and Aurora plan to co-invest in a coffee shop?
I blinked rapidly. She immediately understood, beaming.
That's right, Auntie. I did.
My mother hesitated slightly.
The girl said she had to invest $2 million. What kind of scale is that?
Chloe looked at me, her eyes practically shooting lasers. I was at a loss because I just realized I had brought back a pile of gifts from Ethan. Too embarrassed to return them, and selling them to a thrift store would only get me a few bucks. Moreover, if Ethan saw me in such a pathetic state, how would I save face? My mother gave us a cold look and declared,
$2 million for a coffee shop? Are you planning to open a global Starbucks chain?
I found an excuse to send my mother away first. When it was just the two of us, Chloe pounced and grabbed my neck.
You darn girl, why do I have to take the blame for everything? I'm not some scapegoat for everything? Oh my goodness.
I quickly raised my hands in surrender, laughing dismissively. Chloe pinched my cheek to vent her frustration, then asked,
Wait, what's that hickey on your neck? Aren't you divorcing Ethan soon? Bravo, finding new love so quickly.
She spotted a hickey behind my ear and smirked.
That's quite a hickey, even stronger than Liam's.
My lips twitched. What if Ethan kissed me? I was about to tell Chloe everything when I suddenly saw my mother standing outside the door with a plate of fruit, her eyes wide with horror. It turned out Chloe was still pinning me on the bed in a pose straight out of a romance movie. Chloe turned and saw my mother, jumping up in fright.
Auntie! Auntie! Mrs. Sterling sounds horrified. Auntie! Auntie!
My mother turned and ran away. Chloe almost cried.
Auntie, let me explain.
I held my stomach, laughing so hard my insides hurt. Chloe punched me.
What are you still laughing about?
I sat up, wiping my tears. Okay, let me explain to Mom. Chloe finally felt relieved, but still clung to me, asking about the hickeys. I finally confessed everything about Ethan.
No way! Who would have thought Liam's brother has depression?
Chloe continued.
But listening to you, I realize Liam always wanted to be close to his brother. He must have wanted to take care of him.
That's right. Chloe sighed.
That's good. We'll still be family after this. But Aurora, are you sure you want to live with Ethan? Depression has a big impact. You'll have to take care of him. It'll be exhausting.
I knew she was worried about me, but I had thought it through. All the more reason for me to be with Ethan. He's also actively seeking treatment. Chloe sighed.
All right, whatever you do, I'll support you.
The divorce papers were, of course, withdrawn. Chloe and Liam no longer lived in this house. According to Liam, he didn't want to see us being affectionate. I glanced at Ethan, frowning. I actually regretted not being able to live with Chloe, but luckily, their new house was right next door, only 5 steps away. I knew Ethan bought that house for them. As soon as the other couple left, Ethan carried me upstairs. When I was stripped naked, I cried silently, looking up at his deep eyes.
Weren't you so cold before? Why are you like an uncontrollable beast now? A small kiss used to make your ears bright red. Now, what about this storm of passion?
Aurora, is this okay?
He asked after stripping me bare. What kind of move is that? His spine curved slightly. I knew a battle was about to begin. It was like a rhythmic dance, at times tender, at times urgent, melting into each other, a profound penetration, claiming new depths. The bright moonlight streamed through the window, harmonizing with the hum of cicadas, as a rose quietly bloomed. Ethan's medical report fell to the floor. He had found his medicine. The wind scattered the papers, on which was written, "Psychological therapy complete."
At 18, I met 17-year-old Aurora Sterling. For some reason, my eyes were glued to her. She was asleep, her cheeks rosy, clutching my hand tightly, lost in some dream. From then on, I secretly followed Aurora like a silent shadow. Because of me, she got hurt. I knew I was wrong, that this would only scare her. So I chose to disappear, to silently leave and never appear before her again. Until the day Liam married Chloe, I saw Aurora again in a bridesmaid's dress, radiant as sunshine. I almost lost control, my heart pounding as if it would explode.
That night, I locked myself in my study, punishing myself, forbidding any improper thoughts about Aurora. Later, she moved into my house. Every time I saw her just woken up, her clothes disheveled, I could only press my lips together and turn away, my heart racing. But every day, I secretly longed for her presence like an addict who couldn't quit. One day, Liam asked me if I wanted a marriage alliance with the Sterling family. I immediately refused, cold as ice. But that night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Finally, I ran to find Liam, my voice hoarse. I suppose I couldn't resist the allure of being called Aurora's husband. I regretted it. Even as guilt gnawed at my flesh, I still wanted to try just once. I found myself disgusting, completely unworthy of Aurora. I didn't dare to be greedy, so I punished myself out of habit. Aurora didn't know. I had intended to leave this world a month after Liam's wedding, but she appeared like a dazzling light shining into my darkness. I knew I couldn't drag her down into the abyss, so I didn't dare touch her even once. But that was too unfair to her. The day she demanded a divorce, I collapsed, my whole world shattered. But I couldn't keep her in prison forever. The guilt within me grew, threatening to consume me. Then, when Aurora said she needed me, I was insanely happy. It turned out someone needed a person like me. When my mother found out my father was having an affair, she punished herself by jumping off a building. I could only stand there numb, like young Ethan, who had lost all sound from the world. From then on, except for my wedding day to Aurora, I never returned to the main estate. Until my father called Aurora there, I worried about her, so I decided to return just once. That was also the last time. It seems Aurora discovered my secret. She must hate me so much. Yet she didn't leave. Perhaps everything had shocked her too much. But the girl I had secretly loved for so long didn't hate me at all. That night's moonlight cradled me, gentle as her embrace. From now on, she will never leave me again.
This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening to the Chapter Hearth. Please support us with a like and a subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest exciting stories.